with Edge of NFT, one of my favorite people.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, there are two. Oh, I was going to say, you have one at your chair.
Is Apollo in the house? No? Okay, we'll make it these three here then. Yes, as he said, I am Jeff Kelly, co-host of Edge of NFT, co-founder NFT.NYC. Super excited to be here to talk NFTs and how you can think about them and their impact on sustainability. I'd like to take 30 seconds and have my panelists here give a quick introduction, who they are and what projects they're working on. So let's turn it over to Amanda.
Hi, my name is Amanda Terry. I am co-founder and chief operating officer of MetaGood. MetaGood is the company behind On-Chain Monkey. We're an NFT collection that launched last September. We were a free mint, and we believe in doing well and doing good. We've created significant value for our community, and we were also named Fast Company's 20 best world-changing ideas for impact investing for some of the work that we did, basically using some of the trading revenues to do things like fund Sharbat Gula and her family evacuation from Afghanistan to Italy. We've also worked on restoring coral reefs. I see one of our partners from Save the Children here. We actually created our own on-chain monkey Earth, which was a mosaic of 25,000 monkeys in the shape of the world with a heart over Ukraine. We sold those for 0.1 ETH, and within 2 weeks, we raised 185 grand and donated to Save the Children. We've created a DAO, so all of our NFT holders can both propose and vote for Web3 and social impact projects that they want to see the Treasury fund and get our community behind. And yeah, just one last plug, we're doing a public mint on Wednesday, the 29th, to bring new people into our community. So that's a little bit about us. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Sander. I come from Estonia, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of WOF Labs, which is primarily focusing on different supply chain related projects. So we're building our own project Supply chain messaging protocol, and we've also built World of Freight, which is kind of like a supply chain themed play to earn / simulator. And other than that, we're just building the general Estonian and Baltic Nordic NFT and Web3 scene by organizing events in the space as well.
So let's start with this. Let's start from the top. When forming your projects, where did sustainability fall in the process? How did you think about it? How did that impact what you were doing for the projects you're working on?
I think for us, we were the first NFT profile pic collection all on chain in a single transaction. So we're very energy efficient. Basically, all of the images and metadata are on an SVG file, and it was all done in a single transaction. So when we were thinking, how do we try to be as energy efficient as possible, that was definitely part of the design when we basically coded our monkeys into existence, and now they exist like the Lascaux French cave paintings, where as long as Ethereum exists, our monkeys will survive.
So from the beginning, that was a goal of the project. Sandra, how did you think about that in the beginning of your projects, World of Freight, and other projects you have running?
When it comes to supply chains, then all the way from manufacturing, retail, and logistics, we see that companies are more and more conscious that they need to be more sustainable these days. But when it comes to the tools that are there for them to really get it done, then yes, a lot of companies have been focusing on getting this carbon markets more transparent in the last years. But on the other side, it's been lacking on getting the full information of how much carbon is being emitted and how can it be offset. And we've been, this has been one of the key use cases that we were thinking when starting to design as a plane.
So how do NFTs specifically play into this? Like, what are the unique attributes of NFTs that make them ripe for supporting sustainability and investment into sustainability?
So we were also the first NFT collection to project our NFTs and also those of Art Blocks artist Alexis Andre on the side of the Armadillo building in Glasgow, Scotland, during COP26 while world leaders were meeting. And the idea there was, how do we inspire 1 billion people to think about climate change? And I mean, because NFTs can be such incredible art forms, instead of just having like a poster somewhere in Glasgow, I mean, just having literally these undulating and NFTs being projected across, the Glasgow building while people were meeting. Obviously, got a lot of footage and films. And then we also had that incredible artist decide that he wants to sell those NFTs and donate to youth climate activists. So not only is it kind of inspiring people through the art, but then also it's a way to actually raise funds to give back to the communities that are actually doing the work to help do climate change.
So it starts with awareness.
Or solve climate change, not do.
Right, solve it. So NFTs is a platform for awareness, a conduit for spreading a message. That's really interesting approach and way to think about it. Sandra, how are you thinking about that? How are you thinking about that awareness element of NFTs and how that influences your projects?
When it comes to what we are doing, then we are rather using NFTs as the mechanism of bringing all of the product information into the NFT itself. So we're not focusing on the art side that much with supply use cases, but what it enables us is to have this one digital twin of physical products and have all the information about their journey through real life there. And then based on that, we can also start, or anyone else building on the protocol can help create solutions which are taking this base information, calculating, in this carbon case, the exact number or exact amount of carbon that would be emitted through the process, and they're able to then offset it by connecting to other solutions on the other side. So we're kind of like using it purely from the technical standpoint as a tool that enables us to get the results.
And how are you using those immutable attributes, the information that's recorded there, to measure the success or failure of those efforts?
That is where we have been, or what we are designing is to have it so that all the different tools that supply chain companies or across the whole supply chain are using are collecting all this information into the NFT forms, where it's basically an NFT, but it's kind of advanced format that we're using. And then there's some AI elements that would be calculating some and doing all the magic from there on. It goes very technical, very fast.
I was just say that's super cool. I mean, we've also used ours more believing that NFTs can create wealth for your community, but also do real world good. So a couple examples of that is just as utility for our holders. We did a poker tournament online with Charlie Lee, Owen Wilson, and Woody Harrelson, who are investors of ours. And because, and we had a great time, and then because Woody Harrelson narrated the film Kiss the Ground, we decided to do a donation to save the soil, which is a 501c3 kind of solving the soil extinction crisis. And so, we can have fun, with our community, but we can also actually make impact and do good as well from our revenues. Another example was we decided to donate one of our on-chain monkey NFTs, and then all of the proceeds of that, we reached out to one of our investors, Gigi Breeson, who founded Ocean Elders, and she worked with Holly Branson of Virgin Unite, also an investor, and we said, what three ocean-related nonprofits would benefit most from this? And we actually had our community vote if they wanted UN SDG 14, 15, or 16, life below water, land, or which one they cared about. They wanted oceans. And so then we decided to donate those funds to Coral Vita, which is a group of brothers out of the Bahamas that are growing corals up to 50 times faster than in their natural environment. And then when Bill and I were actually in Barbados, meeting with the Prime Minister of Barbados, who also, as a small island nation state, is very aware of climate change and trying to do things, we invited Sam, the founder of Coral Vita, to come and present to a group of people in Barbados. So it's all about kind of, we're always mixing kind of like utility for our holders in real world and online, but then also thinking not just do you just have fun and get together and party together, but what can you do that actually does good and does impact? And that's kind of what I love about our community is people are so passionate about also obviously doing well, but also doing good.
100%. So one of the interesting things to note, based on the impact you're trying to achieve, the goals that you have, these are for-profit ventures. right? And we're generating revenue from those for-profit ventures and directing them to sustainability goals. We talked a little bit about this, Amanda, out in Austin at Consensus with Bill, that there's a lot of power in that when you have that social mission baked into what you do as a for-profit venture. Your revenue-generating capabilities are much higher in many cases than nonprofit ventures. I'm curious as to your thoughts on that particular subject, how that plays into your thinking around these efforts.
I mean, I think when you think about communities and why people join things, and especially as you look at younger generations, people want to buy products that are not harmful to the earth and to society. And it's actually something people really think about as they think about, okay, what am I consuming? What am I wearing? What impact does this have on the earth? And so I think similarly, NFTs are just an extension of that, right? Like, it's not just about creating wealth, but it is also about, like, is there impact that these NFTs can make? And we've created a culture around the values of RISE, which people type in our Discord all the time, which stand for respect, integrity, sustainability, and experimentation. And it's really brought our community together and strengthened us and kind of our culture. And I'm proud to say, it's actually pinned to the top of my Twitter at Amanda Terry, that we were, I think, the only NFT collection that was founded over 60 days ago in the mid-cap floor range, which is like 1 to 7 ETH, which has actually increased in value over the last 60 days. So I think, thank you. So
That's big.
Thank you. So I think a lot of that has to do with just because we have a mission, because we have values, people believe in our team and they believe in what we're doing. And so it's not just about like coming in and flipping and trying to make a kind of quick buck off these NFTs. People really believe, okay, NFTs can create value, but it can also collectively help motivate people and incentivize people to take certain actions in a very positive way.
And Sandra, with carbon credits, I mean, this is something that in some cases is mandated, in some cases folks do it of their own accord. How does this perspective influence how you think about this, again, being in a for-profit venture that also has this social mission?
Well, it's exactly the same thing that nowadays you can't really do anything without being socially responsible. And if you are, then quite quickly you'll be losing employees, you'll be losing partners, and not really growing much. So from that side point, it's kind of everyone's core thing from the beginning right away. And yeah, so and it's very exciting to see how many different sustainability-focused NFT projects and Web3 companies that are using NFTs inside their processes are being popped up currently in Europe, especially in Estonia. It's like quite amazing that I know personally at least 5 that have launched within the last 2 years' time, and they're all doing very well. So it's good that it's becoming more conscious.
Yeah, I was just say I mentioned this. We had a on-chain monkey holder brunch and gathering yesterday with some panels, and dropped a little alpha. But as of last night and for the next 3 days, on-chain monkey is going to be projected on the New York Stock Exchange billboard in Times Square, which they're doing as, thank you, courtesy to us. Normally those are reserved only for New York Stock Exchange listed companies. But the reason they're doing that is because I'm actually presenting there tomorrow. I'm going down to New York Stock Exchange to present in front of all their executives. They want to work with MetaGood because they've seen what On-Chain Monkey has been able to create, this authentic community that's able to incentivize people through fungible and non-fungible tokens to take certain actions, right? Either do things online, like Twitter and Discord, or actually do things in the real world. And they want to work with us to figure out how do we create a program for our New York Stock Exchange companies that are meeting their ESG goals and motivate them through NFTs. So this is very, yeah. So big, I mean, and actually Bill Ty, my co-founder, which I can talk, he was basically the first investor in Zoom, early investor in Wish, Canva, 23 other publicly traded companies. He founded a nonprofit called Acti Global, which does a lot around ocean conservation and economic empowerment. He met with the CEO of New York Stock Exchange like a couple weeks ago, and then we're just in ongoing discussions, right? So like we don't have the full plan right now, but we were on a call Monday, and I'm like, we just need to find one company that wants to do this. So that's a call out to anyone if you know a company that is interested in ESGs that wants to work with us to figure out how do we create a program with NFTs to motivate that company's either shareholders, their employees, to keep doing what they're doing, and then let's scale that across all the companies that New York Stock Exchange could work with.
Just to add one point on it, then, when it comes to NFTs, even from the art side, but also from the utility side, NFTs have become kind of like one of the best tools for individuals who want to invest into sustainability projects to invest into the NFTs, buy the projects, and work with them to get in. Because before that, yes, you had some crowdfunding initiatives, but it's always been kind of like hard to get into it. And now you can see that by buying something simple as a monkey, you have the monkey, but at the same time you also do something good while doing that.
Yeah, it really seems as though so many of these projects have this interwoven into their DNA, which is very special in the NFT space. So we talked about NFTs for raising awareness about sustainability matters. We talked about making investments to support those sustainability matters, and a bit about how you can inspire community action, whether it's voting, crowdsourcing solutions, working on a number of different projects to create change. And Sandra, you were talking about some really interesting ways you're working on deploying carbon credits, earning carbon credits through gamification. It seems to tie really nicely into that community element of it. Could you talk a little bit about those ideas?
Yeah, one thing that we have been ideating is that since we have this supply chain simulator game where people are able to drive trucks and fly planes and everything else, then it would make sense to somehow implement the carbon credit system into it as well, so that the more you drive, the more you have to kind of offset everything that you have been generating. And we already, from the start, all the vehicles had different parameters, and one of them was the carbon emissions level. And then there's, you can also upgrade those NFTs by changing their engines, changing some other parts in there, and those also can be affecting both the fuel efficiency as well as the carbon emissions rates.
Yeah, so completely gamifying at a very individual level your ability to reduce carbon emissions. That's pretty spectacular. It's not something I don't think we've seen anywhere, so very cool. Looking forward to seeing that. You mentioned, Sandra, before also a number of projects you were excited about throughout Europe that are operating within the NFT and sustainability space. And I know you know many as well. And so would love, from both of your perspectives, to know about what other projects are out there that are inspiring you, that give you good ideas, that keep you moving every single day.
Yeah, there's at least one very exciting company that's using, again, NFTs and the fungible tokens in the same process for generating more visibility into the carbon tracking process in general. So usually when we're talking about carbon credits, everyone is talking about the fungible tokens. But in all of those carbon projects which are generating the potential offsetting, there's always this non-fungible part of how are you actually generating those tokens that you're later selling, whether you're optimizing your farms, whether you're building a windmill or something else. And they've been looking into making it possible for investors not only to invest into the tokens, the fungible ones, but invest directly into the NFTs of those specific projects. And then they can see that as the company that invested into someone building or optimizing some sort of cattle farm, then they can see that we made this better. Not just that we bought some random credits that no one really understands where they came from.
It's amazing. Amanda, how about you?
So there's a company that Bill and I invested in called One Of that's actually in the music space, and what they're doing is basically helping artists be more empowered. So, to raise funds for like emerging artists to not have to necessarily work through the big record labels, to be able to fund themselves through the creation of NFTs and engaging their communities to buy those NFTs. And they're on the Tesla's blockchain, so I know that's a very energy-efficient blockchain. They picked that from the start on purpose because they knew a lot of artists would not want to work on non-kind of POS chains. So I think that's a good one, and I know that every NFT collection that's launched on there, they give the artists an opportunity to choose a nonprofit that they want to work with, and I think they have a pretty wide selection of environmental causes that they work with, so I think that's a good one. There's another collection that reached out to us a while ago. We haven't quite partnered with them yet, but Nemus.Earth. They are going and basically buying portions of the Amazon rainforest, and actually your NFT will help support the buyback of lands in the Amazon, and so I think it's a really cool concept as well. Like, how do you basically use NFTs to fund the environmental conservation of real-world assets?
That's exciting stuff, and I will say also, for those that don't know, is now partnering with eBay even. So we think about like the crossover of our world, the world of NFTs, that DNA we were talking about, the desire to have a positive impact on the world in a really definitive way, and crossing over into the world of Web 1, old school companies, Web 2 companies, and really bringing them along. So look into that if you haven't. So before we wrap up, I wanted to give you guys a chance to share again where folks can follow you, follow your projects, and any upcoming announcements that you have that people should keep an eye out for. Amanda, let's start with you.
Yeah, you can follow me personally at Amanda Terry, T-E-R-Y. You can see my profile pics. It's pretty easy to find me on Twitter. You should also follow us on Chain Monkey. It's all one word, On Chain Monkey. And we will be doing our public mint of our Karma collection on Wednesday, June 29th. The first two collections we dropped were completely on-chain, both the images and the metadata. The Karma collection, the art is so incredible that those are JPEGs, but the metadata will all be on-chain. They were created from a Halloween animation team, the team behind Rio, Ice Age, Ferdinand. We have 5 animation artists that have been working on this for the last 9 months, so I can't even say how excited I am. I mean, the art is incredible. In terms of utility, if you have a Genesis monkey or a Karma monkey, you'll be able to propose projects and vote in our DAO, which is up and running. So we want those to help support incredible Web3 and social impact projects that help to build the on-chain monkey ecosystem and brand. So if you're interested in joining us, definitely it's not too late to get your Genesis monkey in OpenSea or Nifty Gateway, but otherwise, please come talk to me if you're interested in learning more about our public mint on Wednesday.
Yeah, you can also follow me with Sander Gansen on almost any network, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, or Telegram. And obviously come and look what we're doing with World of Freight and what we're doing with Supplying. Funny thing is that we made it so that everyone who is a World of Freight owner are actually able to help us build Supplying and will be rewarded within the process as well. So that's how those two things are very connected as well. And then if you just want to talk about anything outside of supply chain, about any sort of like real NFT utility, about not on the art level but on the infrastructure level, then that's one of the things that I've been looking very much into. And we're organizing also our events in Estonia and the rest of Europe on that topic.
That's amazing. We'll be following you. And again, I'm Jeff Kelly, Edge of NFT and coordinator of NFT LA. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Big round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you.